Hello and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and this is going to be the review, if you can't tell already by the new surroundings that I've got around me, is going to be the preview for the Liverpool v Spurs game, which is kicking off at 12:30 on Saturday. Now obviously Liverpool are going to be looking to bounce back in the Premier League from the result that we had against Burnley, which wasn't a result, it was actually, that was catastrophic, but we did kind of bounce back a little bit against Burton in the Cup, winning 5-0 and putting out a pretty strong team as well for that, and obviously hopefully a similar sort of team, obviously with a couple of exceptions, will be starting against Spurs. Spurs on the other hand haven't really, they're kind of slow burning into the season, I imagine. I think they're going to slow burn into the season a little bit like they have done last year as well. They haven't lost a game, they drew against Everton and they picked up a win against Crystal Palace last week as well. So they'll obviously be looking to continue their little bit of run of form, hopefully scoring a couple more goals on their part for them. Obviously not for me, I don't want them scoring more goals, let me just make that clear for you just straight away. But that's probably what they'll be looking to do against us, and will it happen this weekend? Let's go through it. Now, obviously on the Liverpool side of things, we're either going to score loads of goals or we're going to concede loads of goals. That's pretty much just the cut and dry of it. That is pretty much how it is going to go. Maybe if we can get some sort of consistency in our back four with our goalkeeper, whatever. Obviously, we've still got to wait for Karius to come back. But if we can get some sort of consistency in there, we had Matip come out in an interview midweek saying that he's looking forward to Lovren being his defensive partner. So maybe that is an indication of Sakho going out on loan, which I still think is ridiculous. I've mentioned that in a video before. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. I've mentioned it before that I don't think that Sakho should go out on loan, especially after last season. However, if Matip and Lovren can play very well, with Mignolet for now, Karius later, who knows? Who knows what could happen, but we do need to be much more solid. What I was hoping for was a performance from Emre Can this weekend, like he did against Burton Albion. Yes, they're a championship team. However, he did play a very good game there, and you could see the difference it makes having someone in front of the defence. Now, if Lucas is available and he's fit and ready to go, I would put Lucas in that role, because the suggestion of putting Henderson in that role sucks. He cannot do that role, not in my opinion. He is much better going forward. As many people might find it crazy to say, he's just so much better going forward for us. He can spray passes out a lot better, he can get on the edge of the boxes and stuff, do some crosses, everything like that. You put him in the CDM role, he's not built for that. That's just not who he is. Yes, he can be a bit box to box, but sticking him in there in front of the defence, it will not work, and he won't stay there, and we will become vulnerable to Tottenham's attacks. So I would much rather, if he's fit, I'd have Lucas in there, or maybe even, why not try Grujic or someone like that, someone who's actually built, has a lot of strength, someone like that. I would definitely have him in the team, someone sat in front of that defence, and I think that we will need that coming up against Tottenham. I would also take a risk, and I think it would be a calculated risk as well, of just depending on what happens with the midfield. If it, push comes to shove, I think, going on recent performances, left back is always going to be an issue until we ever get a new one, and I don't think we are going to get a new one, let's be honest. I really just don't think that's going to happen, not this window anyway. So it's either going to be between Moreno or Milner, and then maybe Joe Gomez when he comes back, whenever that might be, as long as he doesn't go out on loan. I would maybe take a risk, and I would start with Milner at left back. I just would, only because he's a bit more defensively solid. Yes, he was exposed against Burnley, but I think he's just going to do a bit more of a consistent job. He's not going to be so out of position like Moreno will be. Moreno can be very good in a counter-attack, but getting back into position isn't his best asset. And they do have some pacey players, especially their full-backs as well. They've got some pretty damn good. It's pretty much like mirrors. We've got pace on ours, they've got pace on theirs. But for me, I would much rather, because they're forwards, if they're going with Harry Kane, Lamella, and if they're also going to go with this Janssen as well, they don't have blistering pace. It's not like you're going to get blown down the wing by a Theo Walcott. As crap as he is a pacey player, or anything like that. I think that I would go with Milner, because he's going to be a bit more defensively solid in that position. Maybe later on in the game, if we're a bit comfortable, if we're at least winning the game, maybe bring Milner off and put Moreno in there. But if anything, Milner can go for days. I'd keep him in there. In terms of, obviously, defence, I'm pretty sure defence will pretty much be the same as it has been. Lovren and Matip, I think they're going to start building their partnership a bit more. Obviously, Mignolet in goal, because we don't have Karius right now. Klein on the right-hand side, which is great. I've got no complaints with Klein. He does have a few defensive lapses here and there, but on the whole, pretty happy with having him in there. In the midfield, as I've just said, I would like to have Lucas if he's available. If not, I'd like to see maybe Grujic come in there as a last thing. If we don't have anybody else to come in, put Milner in that spot and maybe put left back Moreno, something like that. We've got some options in there as well. One that I would avoid for now, at least starting, Wijnaldum. Hell no. It's not happening for me. It just isn't happening for me. Not away from home. And this is exactly what I was concerned about when we signed the guy in the first place, is the fact that he went missing so many times with Newcastle last season. Yes, he's had a great time over in the Dutch league as well, but when he was at Newcastle, he could not do it away from home. At home, great stuff. He could really do quite well, but away from home, it just wasn't happening, and we can't afford to have. It'd be nice to go into the international break for once on a bit of positivity and having maybe a bit of a win. I'd say a bit of a win. You either win or lose. Having a win, and just if he can't put it together away from home, he's really got to sort himself out, because we can't have that type of vulnerability in this team. I would probably go with maybe a Henderson-Lallana sort of partnership in that midfield, obviously just in front of whoever is going to be playing a CDM role, if we're going to CDM, which I hope that we are, because Tottenham have a lot of attacking talent, and we need to have the best defence that we can to keep it out. That's my opinion anyway. So that's who I would go with in the midfield. Let me just run over that. So I think we went with Lucas, Henderson, because I think Henderson deserves a chance. He did play pretty well against Burton, and I think as long as he doesn't get caught on the counter-attack like he did against Burnley, should be all right. Maybe give Wijnaldum a shout later on in the game, something like that, perhaps. It's just an option, and having Lallana in there as well, nice skillful player, play some passes, and can also push forward and get through that defence as well. Forward line, a little bit trickier, obviously, because Sturridge is wanting to play through the middle. This could be his chance, but I also see a good shout for Firmino being in there. Yes, Sturridge scored 2 goals, coming on as a substitute against Burton Albion. However, I still think right now that Sturridge is much more effective as a substitute. Starting the game, it doesn't always happen. It happens so rarely. Obviously, in these latest couple of years when he's had his injury problems and such like that, he's just much more effective coming off the bench right now. Firmino is able to lead that line, and I'm saying Firmino, I'm not missing out Origi, because I don't know whether he's going to be available. Same as Coutinho, it doesn't look like he's going to be available either. Now, the options that I would go for, if we're going to mimic what we've done in recent times, is we could go with Sturridge right through that middle, and then on the left-hand side, Firmino can take up that Coutinho role. They've got, similar players, obviously very different. He's a much better goal scorer, could be a good threat to have on there. Not the fastest player, but neither is Coutinho, and he still plays out there and does pretty damn well as well. And then obviously on the right-hand side, Sadio Mane. Now, Sadio Mane has been our star man over these past couple of weeks, past couple of months since we've pretty much signed him. He is an absolute difference maker. You see the difference that he gave us going forward, all the little tricks, flicks, and everything that he can do. His sheer pace, getting to the end of the lines, crossing it into the box, trying to set up chances himself. If he can continue that for us, that's going to be excellent. You saw when we didn't have him against Burnley, it looked like we didn't have an outlet. And he is going to be the most important outlet that we have throughout this season, I think, linking that play from the back through the midfield and through to the front players. I think he's going to be one of the most important, if not the most important for us, and will be most important in trying to get through Tottenham's brick wall fucking defence. Tottenham, on the other hand, very, very defensively solid. Yes, they've lost Hugo Lloris to injury. However, they have Michel Vorm, however you say. I don't want to say Michel. Hiya. No. However you say his name, Vorm, very good goalkeeper, has a very good saving ratio, pretty similar to Hugo Lloris as well. The defence, pretty damn solid. Forget what happened last season at the end of it. Obviously, that loss to Newcastle. This is a brand new season, and I think that they'll try and be as solid as they can be. As much as they can be as well. Hopefully, we can rip in a little bit, but I think this is going to be a very competitive game overall. Obviously, the fullbacks, we know a lot about. If it's going to be Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, whoever it's going to be, they're going to have some pace behind them, and they're pretty damn good defensively as well. Obviously, whoever they set up in the midfield, I'm unsure on Tottenham's injuries, if they have any. I assume that they would go with like an Eric Dyer in that midfield, who played very well for them in that position last season. Obviously, I would assume that they would go with Harry Kane up front. Now, are they going to start with two up front straight away? Who knows? I'm not entirely sure. I know that they've been bringing Janssen on at half time, and he's been pretty good at, taking that pressure off Harry Kane as well and making it a bit more open for their attacks. They've got another person to play it off. Dele Alli seems to be missing out of the squad right now. Is he going to come back in? Again, Pochettino has quite a good few options in his team, and no doubt he's going to put out a pretty strong team for this game. Now, in terms of predicting the result, I'm not entirely sure. I think as much as it could be a draw, it could actually go either way, depending on how both teams come out in this game. For me, personally, I am predicting up here, I'm predicting a 2-1 victory to Liverpool. And the only reason I'm predicting that is because I want my team to win. I want us to have 2 wins, 1 loss right before the break, the international break. I think that we can do it as well. I think that we can do it. We've shown if we start with a strong enough squad, if we start with a strong enough team overall, first team, Sadio Mane, the likes of Sturridge, Firmino, the attacking talent we have as well, if we can keep that defence pretty solid, I think we will concede. There's no doubt about that. I think we are pretty much guaranteed to concede anyway. I think, as I said, there was a stat or something in the Premier League about Mignolet, who pretty much every shot on target since Theo Walcott's penalty miss, when he saved that one, every shot on target he's conceded. So our defence and a CDM have to do so much work to keep that out of our net before it gets to Mignolet, because there's no confidence, from me anyway, there's no confidence in Mignolet protecting our goal. I don't think he can do it. So I am predicting a 2-1 victory for us. That is what I want to happen, and I feel deep down that it can happen. It could also turn out to be a 1-1 draw, it could be a score draw, or it could indeed flip the other way. And I really don't want it to go that way, but fingers crossed, a 2-1 victory for Liverpool. Now, what are your thoughts on this game? I think it's a pretty good game. Liverpool have had a pretty difficult run in. Aside from Burnley, obviously we should have took care of that a lot better than we did. Credit to Burnley, they pulled out a performance and a half. Now we've got Tottenham away from home. All of our fixtures so far have been away from home. Well, hopefully we can turn Anfield into a fortress when we go there. What do you think of this game? How do you think the teams are going to set up? And what do you think the result's going to be? Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please throw a like all over that like button. That would be very much appreciated, and I would appreciate it so much. Thank you for everybody that ever watches and subscribes, that currently subscribes right now. And if you're not subscribed, hit that all subscribe button and you'll get every video I ever do on this channel, everything that I've already done. You're guaranteed to have at least 4 videos per week. Get on that stuff very quickly. Like the video, leave some comments, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.